was based off a real house where many crimes occurred, which is just creepy. Now, many fans have actually theorized that the series is based on a true story of a real elderly couple and their dog. The theory goes that the old farmhouse in the middle of nowhere is a real place in New Mexico. The husband and wife living there were said to have reported many strange incidents until one day they suddenly vanished, leaving only their dog. Now, there's no denying that this story sounds eerily similar to the famed cartoon series. Now, it's also said that maybe, just maybe, nowhere is the void between this world and the next. There is a belief that the barren land that the family calls home is a void between the mortal world and the world of the supernatural. Now, this doesn't sound too far off, especially when the government is keeping such a close eye on the area. Their home being right on top of the entrance and exit to the supernatural world does make a lot of sense and explains why Courage and his owners are common targets for the supernatural. Regardless, this show has just always creeped me out. Number 9. Ed, Edd, and Eddy. Did you ever wonder why we never saw Ed, Edd, and Eddy's parents and why they were always stuck in the cul-de-sac? Well, this theory says it's because they're all stuck in purgatory. For example, Rolf spends most of his time with farm animals because he died in 1903. Eddy is so obsessed with money and wealth because he died during the Great Depression, and Ed loves comic books so much because he died right as their popularity soared near the end of the Second World War. Now, according to the theory, the children of the cul-de-sac each hail from different eras spanning the early 1900s to the early 2000s. This would explain why the year for the show is very hard to pinpoint. Also, evidence to support all of this is that they have green-blue tongues, and the tongue does in fact turn a bluish shade when you die. The summer is endless in the earlier seasons, and the whole series takes place in the same area. Number 8. Rugrats. This is the most popular cartoon theory, and it is one that I believe with my whole heart. In this fan theory, it turns out that all those adorable babies on Rugrats were nothing more than projections of Angelica's mind. We all thought Angelica was just moody because of her age and spoiled upbringing, but here it's said that her attitude is actually due to the traumatic events of the Rugrats' deaths. It seems like she's hallucinating all of this. Chucky apparently died with his mother in a crash, which is why his father is always overly worried about him, and Tommy was a stillborn, which is why Uncle Stu is constantly making toys for the son he never had. As for the DeVille twins, they were just a projection of a terminated pregnancy, so Angelica projected them as identical twins since the gender remained unknown. Now, it's said that the only baby that actually exists is Dill. She can't manipulate him to do anything because he is real, and this caused her to lash out on him. She hit him so hard on the head, he suffered brain damage. Now, this can be seen in the sequel to the Rugrats series, All Grown Up, as Dill always wears a hat of some kind to cover his scars. Yeah, this idea has always freaked me out. Number 7. Phineas and Ferb. The Phineas and Ferb theory says that the real Candace has lost her mind due to repeatedly bad things happening in her life. The theory says that Phineas was her little brother and he was bullied a lot in school because the other kids thought he was too nerdy. One day, a bully punched Phineas in the head really hard and it ended his life. Then Candace couldn't deal with Phineas's death, so she built an imaginary world where he was still alive and playing with her stepbrother, Ferb. Now, Ferb has a disability and can't talk or do much, but she imagines him and Phineas going on great adventures together. The real reason why her mother can't see the things that Phineas and Ferb build is that, well, they simply aren't there. And the more Candace tries to convince her mother, the more crazy she becomes, and that leads us to Dr. Doofenshmirtz. He's actually Candace's psychologist, whom she's been seeing twice a week. Now, it started to put a strain on the family to try and pay for all these expensive doctor visits though, and in desperation, her mother had an idea to write down all the fantastical stories Candace was telling her and try to sell it to Disney as a show, and it worked. Now, the biggest piece of evidence that goes with this theory is that in season 2, episode 33, Wizard of Oz, where Candace goes into a parody of the Wizard of Oz with Doofenshmirtz as the Wicked Witch. This means that Candace knows him and his evil intentions, and it's inferred that Candace made Dr. Doofenshmirtz and Perry's rival